Hello, everybody. This is Doug Bates with Better Results Personal Training, ageless personal training and organic vegan trainer. It is March 2nd, and I am making my first video in about a month, coming to between my little spider plants and all the rest. Getting some natural sunlight as the sun's headed down with about 1 week to go to daylight savings. If you're dealing with all of that, going to be nice to get some sunlight. I wanted to get a couple updates in and tell a quick story and make a kind of a relatively major announcement, I think, about some good news for those who like my material and the pacing, the tone of my voice, and also now a chance to really get details upcoming on the strategies I use and the deeper level mindset that is going to be introduced on an upcoming TV podcast. There's going to be once a week for about a year on Bold Brave TV. That'll be, it's a spoiler, you have to listen to the end, but I'll give you details on that. So here we go. First off, I have not been on in a while, and I have been trying to prioritize my own health and my sleep as things got pretty busy for me with the Who's Who recognition, which I can talk about, and a chance to record several radio podcasts, and then a chance to get recognized by Marquis Who's Who publication in a regular Marquis millennial newsletter. So I've been having to write content and respond to stuff like that, and I got some invitations because apparently, again, I do have a natural joy in speaking and a long background way back to college as a lecturer in sociology, and then of course presenting to various medical professionals and their patients and their patients' caregivers with regards to various disorders and various health interests around dealing with neurological disorders in particular, but in many cases MS, but I also treated Parkinson's people, people with sclerosis, and people with other issues involved in serious forms of mild dementia or neurological disorders. And so I have a background in dealing with brain health, and as well as psychosomatic brain health, as well as somatic issues. That's kept me pretty busy, and that's what's led to my opportunities. But I wanted to cover, before I do all that, a quick story. And that quick story is related to, as I was finishing on a workout, as I still get my regular workouts. I still am, turning 60 this year, but obviously do not age a lot because I'm on point with how to avoid aging. And I lead, I believe, in many ways, aspects of the industry in that expertise. If I'm not the guy sitting in a research lab, I'm the guy doing it with my clients one-on-one, 52,000 one-on-one plus client hours over the course of 35 years makes me a unique outlier in the industry because I've been practicing since 1995-96 with patients with well-guided awareness and scientific awareness and intentional awareness, and my own strong desire since I was a child to not be an aged, decrepit mess someday. And so what I was doing is I was doing my workout, and I was finishing a workout with precise forms and very unique strategies that I do not see anyone ever use, literally ever use in the gym, and except for my clients. And that's what I want to divulge in the Bold Better TV and in some of these video podcasts, and I do allude to them in this area of YouTubing, but I don't give them out carte blanche because I feel that I have to have something to offer my clients. But if I'm doing a Bold Brave TV podcast, I will be remunerated for that. I will have advertisers I get to pick, and I'll like the advertisers, so I'll know that they're good. I'll know they offer meaningful products, and then I'm getting paid. And in that sense, I can offer the information without feeling I'm compromising my values because I earned that knowledge firsthand. I devised the knowledge firsthand. I then delineated and perfected the knowledge firsthand in use, so I can be careful who I loan it to, be careful who gets it, and make sure that I'm compensated for that. And I don't mind people saying that if they invented something, they were to be compensated. For instance, if you make a song, and you wrote that song, you wrote that poem, it's yours. It's a copyrighted thing. You should get paid for that song. And if someone's going to copy you in your particular, the Rolling Stones, or your someone like Prince, or whoever did it, or the Mamas and the Papas, you should get credit for that song and what you wrote. And so I believe that in an enterprise where people have rights to the material, rights to their information, you should give them credit if that's the case, if you just borrowed from it or a small clip. But if you really, really one-on-one started copying everything they did, as AI will soon do, and AI will pick up on this information. So eventually it'll become all public. So I knew that AI would crawl this one day, this information. They would crawl the information and make it public aware, and I'd lose all of it. So I did not divulge all the information until I had a way to get paid for that information to be stolen from me, or borrowed from me as it will be, when the AI crawls all this. So that means that everything you put out there could be AI crawled, and any inventor of any music or style or any decorative skill you have, artistic skill you have, can be stolen from the AI and borrowed and then given away with no credit due to you. That's why if you do put it out there, I recommend you have some form of, people walking past, some form of, there's a window right there, I've been in front of a window, some form of blessing that you can receive for when you put the information out there. Either more attention, more fame, or financial remuneration, that you are not losing your material once and for all with nothing having gained from it. To all the children out there, it's going to be stolen from you. If you have an adult perspective, you might hold back on information before you release it publicly so that you at least get paid on the initial release of that information. And you might get a copyright, and that might be somewhat you can go after. I won't go copyright it per se because I won't go after the information, but I will know that it came from me, and I'll have proof it came from me. So when it hits the big time and everybody starts copying these strategies that I've, again, divulged and polished and perfected over the course of decades, and it's really obvious stuff that no one does, which is interesting. It will be useful. It'll be useful to you guys for having tuned in. You'll be the first one to hear about it, and you'll be in the cutting edge of it, and you'll have a deeper understanding of it, perhaps because it will be in context, and I can put it in context. So that'll be useful. Of course, if you're a client of mine, you would get that information with all the nuances one-on-one. So you'd say, here's that it doesn't apply. The information is incredibly valuable, but if you apply it wrongly or poorly, it won't work out. If Nikola Jokic is teaching you how to do a backhanded tennis hit that no one's ever done off of one foot with a move that he never thought behind his head, or switched hands in the racket, and I can use my left hand to play with the racket, it's not illegal, and he does it for the first time playing on a clay court, someone goes, left hand, right hand tennis, pops it back, and you go, oh, I guess that's not illegal. Nope, but I got to the ball, didn't I? If other people copy that, he did it first. Good for him. So I'm the kind of guy that would play tennis with two hands if it was legal. I would play tennis with two hands. Just boop, hit it back that hand. Why would I chase around, go back, and I just switch hands with the racket? Is it legal? I don't know. I haven't asked. But anyhow, back to the story. I was finishing my workout, and I went to sit down, and I was resonating, if you would, in my body's energy field, listening to it, feeling it, sensing my body's energy, breathing as I tend to do in a combined ventral vagal and dorsal vagal pattern, meaning I'm somewhat parasympathetically active from the workout, but dorsally vagal dominant, so that I'm healing and restoring and digesting my food, and I'm conscious, and yet I'm on the edge of sleep and really relaxed and listening to my thoughts and my feelings, and some thoughts come to me, and in the background I have music playing from the workout. And as the music's playing from the workout, I suddenly find one song comes on that I have an attachment to. And this is what's important. One song comes I have an attachment to, and I suddenly start to go into the attention of the song versus in the background. It becomes my primary focus, and I quickly place my energy into the song, and all of my body's energy starts to leave my muscles and leave my tone and leave my physical zone of my soma. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? I tried to call energy back, and it was quite difficult. As long as that song was playing, which again, it's a popular song, has a great vibe to it, it grabs me, it has great tones, it has great lyrics, it's by a famous singer, don't matter because you might not like him, or even her in some cases, because the second song came out after that. But what it did is it made me leave my body. And I heard myself say to myself, because I'm in a very strong, appreciative zone following a workout. Just like in the workout, I'm very much in my body, not stressing, but sensing everything, but a very level of lit function in a torso workout in this case, but it's using the whole body. And as I'm resting in that same state without movement, more parasympathetically dominant again, which is dorsal vagal. ventral vagal to the front, and more what they call flight or fight, which is not an accurate term. It's more engaged. So fitness related, movement fitness related, and very dopaminergic, dopamine and very norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, catecholamines, adrenal hormones, very much in that phase. And literally, what I said to myself when I heard that song come on is, whoa, don't do that. My body's song, my body's music is far greater and far more interesting than that ridiculous song. I had to criticize the song to call my energy back. Because my body's energy seems to like to go where it feels it's having fun. Sounds interesting. It's like the spirit jumps from one thing to the other. And I think that's interesting because it might be happening in your life. If you find something your spirit likes, it's engaged in staying with you. As soon as you don't want to do something, it feels like your spirit left you, and your spirit's no longer having fun. And so I was having fun with my workout, having fun post-workout. All my spirit is in me. It's filling me up. It's resounding in me, resounding. I say resounding in me. Re-narrating, remembering, recalling in me what that workout was, enjoying it, resounding in me, and other sound comes on and starts to distract me. And if you go back in the Bible, it says God was created through sound, through word, through speech. That's interesting, because as this was sounding out in my head, and I could hear words, the words were very clear. I said, come back, I need you here in the body because this is far more interesting. All of the orchestration of the body is far more complex and orchestrated than a song. There might be 12 or 15 instruments in that song. I have tens of thousands of instruments in my body. I've got adipocytes that make adiponectin. That's already very active in my fat cells, just my flab cells. Not many of them, but the fat cells are sending signals called adiponectin to manage my insulin level, to manage my blood vessel constriction and ability to relax, depending upon many things. Depending upon, it's also involved in dopamine, adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine again, signaling to make my body prepare for activity and be engulfed in activity. And that's just the adipose tissues involved. Then I've got my CNS, my nervous system, central nervous system, my peripheral nervous system. I've got my vagus nerve. I've got my 12 cranial nerves all working, the 11 other cranial nerves besides the vagus nerve. I've got my myokines. I've just finished a workout. That's myocytes make myokines, and adipocytes make adipokines. You want information on that? I just posted it on my Ageless Fitness Institute Facebook page. Again, Ageless Fitness Institute Facebook page. It talks about what an adipokine is and where they come from adipocytes or adipose tissue, from white fat tissue, mostly subcutaneous white fat tissue, but also from deeper visceral fat tissue, white fat tissue, not the brown fat, the white fat. That's the stuff that's not even very useful. It's not the stuff that speeds you up. Brown fat's the one that they say, oh, that's really good fat for keeping you warm, right? There's the white fat. Something that seems like, oh, that's not even important. So it's white fat tissue. Think about it. White fat tissue is not a waste product. It's signaling the body. It's amazing. Think about it. Not you need a lot of it because losing more weight increases adiponectin. So you don't want to be extra fat because it won't help you. But here's the point. Literally, I was reminded as I'm sitting there how important it is to see myself as central. My own instrument is central in the battle of keeping my spirit and keeping my soma here, present with me. That I can enjoy my body and focus on it and not go gallivanting off into a song or a distraction. Oh, look at that pretty dog. Oh, look at how pretty the clouds are, and getting distracted by other things. It's okay to recognize a dog or recognize the clouds, but you say how beautiful the waterfall is. But if you go into that deeply, you might be leaving your body. You might be leaving your body. That's why it's important to breathe in your body. Some people do intimacy for themselves in the forest. It could be intimacy in terms of a bath that you give yourself, or intimacy in a massage that you give yourself, or any form of intimacy. But giving your body an investment is really important for you. Or receiving from somebody to give your body attention is very important. And so when you give your body attention, you give your mind attention, you give yourself attention, you're just saying you are important. And if you are, again, a muse of source, remember, a source would be before creator, before God shows up, before the thing that makes other things smaller than itself or particleized or, we'll say, fragmented versions of itself shows up. The source would create various forms or differentiate itself in various forms in order to be source making various things within itself as if it were itself in other forms. That would be source differentiating itself. And then it can call itself God if it has something that's beneath it and say, oh, I'm God to that. So if you have a creator or God, is that source? Not necessarily. It comes from source. And so if you yourself as source recognize the value of source in your body, source is orchestrating and giving you life, making all these things happen. And even the creator has to recognize how source works to give you a gift that your body functions and is recohesive, regenerative, restorative in the process, able to put together itself over and over again in orchestration in a meaningful way to make you ongoing. Otherwise, you have chaos. You wouldn't have regeneration. You'd have things going into disarray. Things would have entropy or decay. Entropy and decay are things falling apart, losing form. You have form-makingness or reformativeness. That's the opposite of entropy. You could call it negative entropy, but I think it'd be a form of opposite of entropy, which is forming again together in a cohesive self that is ongoing and continually orchestrating well-being and vitality and success. And I wanted to make sure I was in that mode. And it literally took effort when I had that distraction in the background of music, so I had to switch the song to one I didn't love as much. I was fine again. So beware you have music that's fully captivating and pulls you into it. That's my one thought for the day. Besides music, this feels like background music. Beware being so surrounded by things that are so intriguing that you lose yourself in it, which some will love to do, versus find things you can find value in, but don't forget about yourself and find yourself as central. I'm not training to be central 100%. Maybe you do have to be central 100,000% of the time. I don't really know, but you should be experiencing yourself through observing other things, through exercise. Oh, think how great that bodybuilder won Mr. Arnold Classic just yesterday and tonight was, last evening, really late, and he did a great job. But if I go into him and worship just him, that's not worshiping me. So I can't go back and pick one of the top three guys and say which one. I could say, wow, that guy has great attributes, but I have to say I also have great attributes. In order to win this battle with all the distractions you have going on, not with yourself. It's not a battle with yourself. It's a battle for yourself, not with yourself. It's for yourself. And when you put that all back on page one and you see yourself as primacy, it's your job always to see yourself as primacy, as the primary thing you are concerned with. And really, primacy means that you are the number one thing in your life that you are concerned with. If you have a child, you have a spouse, because always using authenticity and the authentic center, the authoring center of your well-being must come from you. And I will talk a lot about that in these upcoming things. So again, to be the muse is to be the music or the sonnet. And sonnet would be like, okay, the phrase or the, if you're not familiar with the term, would be the song that you would be sung as. There's a group of, we'll say, African tribe that is well known to say that every single child is sung a song before they're conceived even by the mother in this particular African tribe. And I want to say it's going to be it might come to me. And I don't want to say it wrong. But what happens is having your own unique DNA, your own unique fingerprint, your own unique tones, those are key because you were made uniquely and Source wants you to be differentiated or you wouldn't have been formed as such. So if you're one you're supposed to be here, you were formed individual, therefore you're meant to be individual. You're not meant to be somebody else. You're not to be infected by somebody else, pretend to be somebody else, even necessarily act like somebody else. You might be aware that acting more like them might be benefiting you, but don't act as if you are somebody else. Don't pretend to be somebody else. It's a dangerous thing. Okay? So that's what I say. Be yourself, be authentic. And that's what I want to talk about in Bold Brave TV, podcast, the way that worked out. Quick story, I'll tell the story longer in another video, is that I was actually contacted because the team at Bold Brave TV, which is a nice thing to check out, made an AI search for what the population out there was leaning towards. And leaning towards the spiritual end, leaning towards, not being overly captivated by mainstream medicine, anti-aging, nutritional well-being, psychological, emotional well-being, brain-centered health, somatic health, and recognizing that people want answers. They want to know what's truth versus fiction in the media. They want holistic, natural treatments and answers. And when they searched out what people were looking for, and those were the things, and they said, where in the AI will we crawl this person, proverbial person, as if they constructed a fake avatar that would be the ideal candidate. It was interesting, they said, and the station manager contacted me personally, we had a Zoom call for an hour, then a second Zoom call the next day for an hour. He said, you're the guy that pretty much tricked all the triggers. We opened the hood, and there you were. He said you were in every single category. And I thought, how can that be? I said, well, I mean, it was intentional for me. But that meant that, he said, I stood out. I had the right tone, the right energy, and the right box of subjects that I was already engaged in and communicating on for quite some time. In some cases, at least 5 years, and in some cases 10 or 20 years, 25 or even 30 years on these subjects. So that was really good news to me. And they were quick to say, please sign this contract within an hour. Just please hang up, it'll be there, and you can just sign the contract. And I said, well, let me go over. And because I can pick my advertisers again, because I can pick, everything, I get to maintain full rights, talk whatever I want to talk about. I can make it as conspiracy-oriented as I want to. There's no subjects off limit. This is an educated population that they deal with already, critical thinking population deal with already. They're perfectly willing to listen to conversation that are going to maybe, or they might be scared by or unfamiliar with. That population that they're dealing with is already pretty smart, and it's many millions of people. And they said, you're going to fit the bill, so go ahead and talk about anything you want to. And that's great news. So I'll be starting in April sometime. And there'll be a notice on YouTube when that starts, and I'll make links to that. So that's the good news. But that's the quick story that I wanted to tell about. Make sure that you prioritize yourself in your own way. Don't let even popular music draw you away from yourself unless you want to escape yourself for a moment. Because sometimes you're in misery, you might want to escape yourself. In this case, I was in bliss, and I was really resonating with myself fully, so I did not want to escape myself. If you're in prison somewhere, and you can leave the prison you're in, and that goes back to, by the way, a book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And he was in a concentration camp, and he literally played the piano or went golfing in his head to deal with the psychotic situation of being in a prison. That helped him survive. So to suggest it would be wrong to leave your body in certain situations, it would probably be the right thing to leave your body in certain situations in order to survive. So in an ideal setting, if you're in a good state and you can stay in that setting and feel the bliss of that and prioritize the bliss of that, that's the place to be. If you're in absolute misery, do not be afraid to allow or to create or to allow the dream state to take over, as it does naturally when you dream anyhow. And so it occurs every time you go to bed at night with REM sleep. It's okay to leave that state unconsciously or consciously and go there. I'm just pointing out the one opportunity I pointed out again that I witnessed firsthand, where I said, that's interesting. Would I really want to have shot that opportunity in the foot, or shot that opportunity out of the sky, because I know I need that back here serving me. That's why I told the story. And then, of course, the great news is many of you, I think, will be given opportunities to get far deeper and far more information on what I talk about. I don't have a big following anyhow. I never really sought for one, so thank you for tuning in. If you never were thanked, thank you for tuning in to my podcast here, my YouTube podcast and broadcast, and I'll say podcast. And thank you for being with me on this, and then I think it'll be a great opportunity. So, again, I never tried to grow the YouTube channel. I just tried to practice at it and know that I have valuable insight. Why not share it a little bit? Why not have a small footprint? Because people will look on YouTube. And I went to LinkedIn and I made a small little imprint on LinkedIn, and instantly that was picked up. So I've tried to keep myself really small outside my gym. I did not try and expand myself. I did not try and market myself, because I figured that would happen in time. If I could just stay young and fit and healthy, eventually I'm going to stand out of the crowds. If I'm 85 years old doing this, look just like this or better, it will be inevitable that someone will say, you got to come on our TV show. So I assumed time would work in my favor. Stay young, stay healthy, stay in my lane, and someone will go, why are you running so fast for someone who's so old? It's not hard, right? Because I didn't waste my time exhausting myself, doing things, chasing down fame, chasing down things that would have been a lot of work when I was only 52 or 53. And then trying to prove myself because I felt too young to have proven it. Whereas I waited till I was 58, and I said, at 58, I feel like I'm pretty acceptably, can talk about anti-aging now. So I went to an anti-aging conference, and I was shocked to discover that other practitioners were much younger, taking steroids, taking hormones, taking injections, using creams and pills, and I was using no such thing, never have. It's nice to be a 200-pound, 7% body fat individual lifetime drug free and not be taking things and know how to do it naturally. So with all that said, that'll end this nice particular YouTube video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. Again, we've got betterresultspersonaltraining.com, agelesspersonaltraining.com, organicvegantrainer.com, and on Facebook, Ageless Fitness Institute, and the other three things that I just mentioned as personal training pages. That would be, again, or Better Results Personal Training on Facebook, Ageless Personal Training, not on Facebook, but Ageless Fitness Institute, and Organic Vegan Trainer on Facebook. And then, of course, I have the radio podcast. I can mention one of them with not Bold Brave TV yet, but with Up Close TV. I can put that in the link in the comments. And then, of course, now Bold Brave TV coming up. And you will see the announcement here in YouTube when that happens. So again, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the day and enjoy daylight savings when it shows up. Hope it's all recorded very well and enjoy your day. Make yourselves number one.